Hey guys, it's Phil coming back at you with another video. Today, I'm back. I'm pumped up. I'm excited. Hopefully everyone's doing well, practicing self-care, doing the next right thing, not letting one thought, one situation, one person, or letting anyone get inside of their mind to determine what they need to be doing within their situation. And I know it's my first video of the new year, so happy late new year. I've had a lot go on in my personal life that has been kind of taking me away from being able to help you guys, but I'm still trying my best 100% to give as much as I possibly can to every single one of you guys. And I'm just amazed by how many people are repping and rocking with me and how many people are willing to share my name and how big the Fill in the Gaps community has become. And if you're finding yourself being like, man, am I doing the right thing, or am I studying in the right way, or what does this even mean for me? Well, 33 people have passed their exam since my last video. They went inside of the exam, kicked it directly in the chest, didn't let one thought, one situation, one person, or anything deter them outside of what they know to be true. Because a lot of people on this list were like, Phil, I don't even know if I need to be in this exam. I don't even know if this is the right profession for me. I don't know what's going on within my situation. And every single one of them went inside of the exam, even though their back was against the wall. They had stress. They had all these different factors stopping them. They went inside of it, doubled down, and did everything that they know that they needed to do for themselves and kicked it directly in the chest to get the job done. And they are as follows: Giselle C., Karina V., Michael S., Tia B., Shay B., Jessica B., Amanda B., Priyanka E., Erica L., Kirsten F., Tanya P., Ciara I., Rosemary W., Emmy S., Charles I., Becca S., Ariel G., Stephanie M., Amber H., Ashley N., Vanessa C., Kimberly M., Jennifer B., Deanna F., Chanel C., Shantae W., Monica S., David M., Alicia A., Leah B., Rubinson M., Allison M., and Kenya E. I'm so excited, man, because so many people went in there. They doubled down on themselves, and they did everything that they know that they needed to do to get everything done, because that's the goal, is never to let anything stop you from knowing what you know that you need to be doing. And before I get into anything, because this video is going to have a lot of information, 867 people went inside of the exam in 2021 and kicked it directly in the chest to get the job done while repping and rocking with the Fill in the Gaps community. So from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of you guys that allow me to become a part of your process and allow for me to provide as much as I possibly can. But 867 people in 2021 went inside of the exam while repping and rocking with the Fill in the Gaps community to get the job done. And that is amazing to me, because when I first started doing this, I had no idea where it would go. But 867 people doubled down, believed in themselves, didn't let one thought, one situation, or one person take them outside of what they know to be true. And if you're like, man, Phil, I want to rep and rock with you as well. I want to go inside of the exam in 2022 and kick it directly in chest to get the job done. Well, the easiest way to do that is to join the Sunday study groups that I have every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And if you're not able to attend live, that's 100% okay, because if you sign up and register for the session, you're going to be getting the recording and the study materials, whether you attend or not, to review at your own leisure. So that is why the Sunday study groups are the easiest way to rep and rock with me, because one, it allows for you to get content, but not just to memorize the content, but to be able to recognize and apply it to go into the exam to kick it directly in the chest. And the next Sunday study groups are as follows: 116, Freudian theory, so going over psychoanalytic, going over psychodynamic, as well as the defense mechanisms to not memorize, but be able to recognize and apply it to kick it directly in the chest to get the job done, because we'll be going over practice questions related to that content as well. DSM-5 children, so going over the most common children diagnosis, as well as practice questions related to those. 130, client interventions, so going over the different individual client interventions as well as the family interventions, and then applying to the questions related to those. 26, ethics, so going through the code of ethics, every line, identifying what is important, what is not important, what are things that people typically get tripped up, and like second guess themselves and beat themselves up, as well as going over practice questions related to that. DSM-5 adult, so going over the personality disorders, the difference between the schizophrenia spectrum, bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 disorder, as well as the medications and practice questions related to those. Practice questions on 220. We're going over practice questions, but again, do not come into the session expecting to get every single thing correct, because at the end of the day, these questions are written in a way to not just memorize or word associate or jump to conclusions, but to ensure that you are applying the answer back to the question to ensure that you're going in with the best possibility going into the exam to kick it directly in the chest, because a lot of times people practice with easier questions or not as complex questions and then go into the exam, and then it's way different for them because they're distracted and they're like, oh my gosh, my answer that I think is supposed to be there is not there. As well as 227 research program development and evaluation. So going over the different types of research, going over the steps of research, going over the steps of program development, going over the different types of program evaluation, as well as reviewing questions related to those. So again, kind of a quick review of that. 116, Freudian theory. 123, DSM-5 children. 130, client interventions. 26, ethics. 213, DSM-5 adults. 220, practice questions. And then 227, research program development and evaluation. And those are all on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're not able to attend the sessions live, that's 100% okay, based on the fact that you can register for the session as well as get the recording and the materials after the session. If you want any information related to those, send me an email at berda24@gmail.com or click the link down below in the description, as well as I do still offer individual tutoring. So if you want to directly interact with me, it's 100% possible, but keep in mind my tutoring schedule books out 3 to 4 weeks in advance. So if your exam's sooner than that, you can send me an email and I'll try my best to get you in if there's a cancellation. However, if your exam is after that, it's easier to get a session based on the fact that there's a lot more availability. But if you want any information related to that, send me an email at berda24@gmail.com or click the link down below in the description. It'll send you to the calendar as well. And the next one-day course, I know a lot of times people are wondering, when is the next one-day course? What is the one-day course? Well, the one-day course is the most successful thing that I've ever done because it gives you the most amount of time and direct interaction with me while going over a different array of topics that are possible to be on your exam, as well as teaching you how to break down the questions, not word associating, not jumping to conclusions, but allowing for you to be comfortable and confident in your ability to go into the exam to kick it directly in the chest to get the job done. So the next one-day course is going to be on February 12th from 11 a.m. Eastern time until whenever they kick us out, p.m. Eastern time. But again, it typically is going to end around 9:30 or 10 p.m. Eastern time for the content. And then there's a question and answer segment after that you can directly interact with me. So similar to the Sunday study groups, there's a question and answer segment where you're able to directly interact with me, any questions that you have or anything related to that. And the overview of what the one-day course will cover is as follows. Tips I found most helpful for people to go into the exam to kick it directly in the chest to get the job done. And the most common reasons why people fail the exam, because the best way not to make the same mistakes is by reviewing the mistakes of other individuals and identifying ways to improve them, breaking down a handful of topics, subpoena versus court order, operant conditioning, the difference between referral versus supervision, when should you refer, when should you seek supervision, identifying different topics related to the DSM. So we'll be going over the schizophrenia spectrum, personality disorders, difference between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 disorder. We'll go over the medications. We'll go over the acronym. In addition to that, we'll go over the 5-step process that I recommend every single person to utilize while going to the exam to kick it directly in the chest to get the job done, and then tying it all together with 25 practice questions. So if you want any information related to that, send me an email at berda24@gmail.com or click the link down below in the description. As well as, for those that do not know, Audible's continued to partner with me on my YouTube videos and my podcast. So if you want to support me as well as support them, go to my Audible affiliate link at audibletrial.com/fill-in-the-gaps. Sign up for the 30-day free trial, because signing up for the 30-day free trial is how you can help me out. And when you sign up for the 30-day free trial, you get a free book. And if you're like, man, what the heck is Audible? I always hear you talking about it, Phil. Well, Audible is the easiest way to get information and knowledge on the go. So if you're busy just like me and you still want to become the best possible version of yourself, then Audible is an easy way to identify different pieces of information that you want to obtain based on the fact that you can have the information in your ears through auditory form, because Audible is an audiobook platform that allows for you to obtain knowledge and information on the go. So again, if you want to support me as well as support them, go to my Audible affiliate link at audibletrial.com/fill-in-the-gaps. Sign up for the 30-day free trial. And if you're like, Phil, I don't want to type all that out, the information is in the link down below in the description. So it helps me out 100% if you're able to do that. And if you're like, man, I want to sign up, but I'm not sure what book I should get, there are a couple that I would recommend, and they are as follows: The Alchemist, Traumatized, The Archer, and Outliers. Each of them have different pieces of information that you can gain, not just to progress professionally, but personally in the best possible way that you can to become the best possible version of yourself. As well as, if you haven't done it already, do me a favor, hit the like button down below. It helps me out because it allows for other amazing social workers just like you to find my channel as well. Leave a comment down below about something positive or something that you're looking forward to in this year. As well as, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification next to it because it notifies you every single time that I upload a video. So that's going to be the first way that you're going to be able to sign up for the free study group next month in February, because you're going to be the first individuals to have that piece of information. As well as, if you didn't know, I have a podcast called Fill in the Gaps on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify, because I have information related to that as well. So the rest of this video is going to be going over the changes to the exam that occurred starting 2022. So January 3rd, 2022 are when the changes took effect. So let's hop into that right now and see what we're looking at. So this is directly from the ASWB website. So that's where we got this from. So you got to make sure that what you're identifying is actually official. So this is 100% official based on the website that they have. So this is going to be starting January 3rd, 2022. And I have been hesitant on uploading this video based on the fact that it has been after that date. But a lot of people were saying, Phil, I had no idea that these were new changes. So if you've not taken the exam yet in 2022, this is something relatively new. So this information could be helpful because the more prepared that you are, the better off that you are going to be in the future. So a lot of the changes were based on the interface of the exam. So a lot of this on the left is going to be what it used to look like. On the right is going to be the more professional version of what it looks like. So they also updated the confidentiality statement to be more poignant of do not cheat or do not share information related to the exam outside of the exam, because that's the biggest way that you can get yourself in trouble. I know a lot of times people like to share what their experience was like or try to share practice questions to identify what was the correct answer, but be mindful that that could be a very, very difficult path because you may get your license taken away even before you obtain it. As well as, if you notice, there is now a highlight as well as strike-through feature. So be mindful that that is going to be one of the biggest updates within the exam. So that's the surprising part, because if you've been repping and rocking with me for long enough, we've been doing that for the longest time. So again, there's now going to be highlighting and a strike-through feature on the exam. So being mindful that you can also adjust the font size of the exam, because previously you had to arm wrestle the administrators of the exam to get the font size larger, as well as to make the exam work for our minds that need highlighting and eliminating details that are irrelevant. So going a little bit further, of now the exam is going to look at a little bit different as well, based on the fact the font is larger. It's not as old school of smushed together, so you're now able to better see the questions, utilize highlighting if that's how your mind works, as well as a strike-through feature to eliminate the answers to no longer distract you within the situation. So looking a little bit closer, the highlighting feature, you're going to be able to select text that you wish to highlight by holding down either the button on the mouse and dragging it over the text, as well as the select highlight button on the top left of the screen, which we've been examining for the rest of this video. And we select the desired text from the drop-down menu, and this applies to highlights once a color has been selected. You can select text in the shortcut key to apply the highlight to the selected text. So when I started making my videos, I was a little ahead of my time, but I'm glad that the ASWB is now making adaptations to the exam to allow for people to directly apply the strategies and techniques that I would recommend. So you can also remove the highlight and repeat the same procedure, but select to remove it from the drop-down menu. So the strike-through feature, which I haven't really been utilizing, but I've been utilizing gray in that place, is also going to allow for you to draw a line through answer choices to eliminate them from consideration, because the less that you have to focus on, the better. So make sure that you don't accidentally select or deselect an answer option. However, so when you want to draw a line through, you just select the text as if we were doing it on the document on Word, and you just strike it through. You can also remove the line if you would like to do so. So that's the important changes. You can now highlight and strike through on the exam. In addition to that, doing our due diligence to finish the review of what is here, you're now able to mark and review questions in a different manner as well. So it looks a little bit different based on the fact that they changed the interface. So when you do this, it's going to be in the right-hand corner, or you can use Alt-F. Before, it was a hard process if you didn't memorize what the tutorial told you, and it could be a lot more difficult within the situation. Because in the top right, similar to the top left, it has highlight and the strike-through feature. When you flag it for review, it's a lot easier for you to identify what that looks like. The old interface was clunky, and it was difficult for us to know because all of the options were on the top of the interface. So that's bad moves, bad vibes. So that's the important thing, is now we can identify what is there. In addition to that, when you review the questions, it is a more systematic manner, because the old interface was kind of clunky of like, did you answer it? Did you not? It almost like you were playing that old minefield game, and it was ready to blow your mind based on the fact that you weren't sure what the exam was telling you. Now, it is way more clear-cut of where it tells you, is this question incomplete? Is this question completed? And if it's completed, did you just simply flag it? Before, you had to guess whether you answered the question or guess whether you just flagged it or not. So this is a huge upgrade as well. So it's like the ASWB is upgrading its software to give you a better chance and not just have to guess within the situation. Also, the introduction has not really changed that much based on just the aesthetics within the situation, so that's not a huge upgrade. However, the help screen is a lot more organized and allows for you to better digest what you're looking for, as well as kind of gives you the shortcut keys that you could particularly look for. So if you're somebody that's like, man, I want to use those shortcut keys, but it's relatively new to me, well, you could utilize the whiteboard next to you to write down things that you want to better remember. So if that's how you operate, that could be a beneficial thing for you as well. Or if you're like, man, I'm so tired of writing down all these details on this whiteboard, you can utilize the highlighting feature to identify the details within the question and then utilize the whiteboard for things that you want to recognize and apply further along in the process. As well as, it's going to be more specific when you're about to end the exam as well. It's going to say, hey, you've chosen to end this exam. Do you want to? So the new interface will not display your exam results. So your preliminary script will be printed and given to you at the testing center. So that's a key thing here too, because before you used to get your results on the screen. However, the new exam is not going to do that. So being ready to prepare for that as well. Because if you've taken the exam before and it doesn't show you on the screen, your body may have some malfunctions and say, oh my gosh, what's going on? But knowing that there's more suspense of having to prepare to walk up to the counter to now see your results. So that's an important thing here, is the new interface will not display your exam results. Your report will be printed and given to you at the test center. So being mindful of that as well. In addition to that, the confidentiality reminder is that you are not to share any of the information inside of the exam. So at the beginning, you must accept the terms of what they state, and it's basically telling you will not discuss or share content or questions with anybody, either past or future examinees, educators, colleagues, or test preparation companies. So engaging in this may cause your score to be invalidated and could result in persecution in the fullest extent of the law. So bad moves, bad vibes. So do not. So they're being more focusing on this of like, if you do this, your license is going to be invalidated even if you went into the exam, kicked it directly in the chest. So don't kick the exam directly in the chest, but then kick yourself in the chest by sharing about the exam outside of it. So kind of quick review, the biggest changes to highlight are that you must agree to the confidentiality process. You now are going to be able to highlight and strike through. In addition to that, you're going to have a different menu when marking or flagging questions. It's not going to be as clunky where it's a check mark that says just mark. It's going to have a flag for review up on the top. In addition to that, it's going to be a better interface for you to be able to review the questions when they come. You're also not going to get your exam results displayed on the screen. So if you're like, crap, that was a big stressor for me last time, or if you're somebody that's like, man, I need this immediate result afterwards, preparing yourself that you have to leave the exam room, then get your results, because the more information that you have, the better for you to better process it future and when you do it on your own. So those are things to be mindful of when you're now going inside of the exam. So those are the major changes. So don't freak out about, oh my God, I heard there was a lot of changes. I'm not really sure if that's good for me or not. Being able to build yourself up, not overthinking, not second guessing, not double doing all these different things, but trust in yourself, because the more that you have information in front of you, the more that you practice how you're going to perform, the better off that you're going to be. So again, I was very reluctant to even upload this video because I'm like, everybody knows this already. No one's going to benefit from this. However, the more people I was talking to, people were shocked that these changes were coming. So my biggest piece of information or recommendation for you is do not let the novelty of a situation get robbed from you based on the experience of somebody else. And what do I mean by that? Because novelty simply just means the uniqueness of a situation. So don't let somebody else's situation, don't let somebody else telling you what you should be experiencing take away from what you're directly experiencing. Because at the end of the day, in order for you to actually solidify a memory or for a significant thing to occur, it must be significant for you. So do not let somebody else's recommendations or do not let the experience of somebody else take away from your own experience. Because the more that you go through or the more stressed that you are, the less likely that you are going to show up to be you. So my recommendation, if you are feeling stressed, or my recommendation if you're feeling overwhelmed, or my recommendation if you're invalidating yourself or beating yourself up, is to keep pressing on. And what do I mean by that? It may not be easy. It may not be the best decision at that given moment, but you have to keep pressing on, because the more that you press in the right direction, the more that you will become who you're supposed to be. Not every day is going to be the easiest day. Not every situation is going to be easy for you in particular. There are situations that are easier for other people, but there are also easier situations for you in some circumstances. So you have to count the blessings that you have, give yourself the credit for who you are, but also know that in order to have experience, you must have experienced something at some capacity. So do not let the uniqueness of you get robbed by the experience of somebody else. Do not compare yourself to somebody that's not you, because the worst thing that you can do is identify somebody else's highlights, but then show the darkness of your life without ever taking into consideration what they went through to get there, or that they're having dark moments that they are not broadcasting to everybody. So do not cast yourself onto somebody else, because you are uniquely gifted and talented to be you, and the only person that you have to be better is who you were yesterday, or even who you are today, tomorrow. But do not let one thought, one situation, one experience, or one situation rob you of what you know who you are within your situation. Because at the end of the day, we all go through something, but if you take nothing from the things that you went through, you are now just exhibiting what you wanted to happen, not what actually happened. So do not let the perception of what you're doing override what you're actually doing. You have to ensure that what you want to do is actually taking you where you want to go. Because way too many times I hear, Phil, they told me this, they told me that, they told me that. Well, who is they? They are not you. You are you, so you have to embrace who you are with and for your situation. Wherever you're at. You may not be where you want to be. You may be behind. You may not be who you once were yesterday. You may have regressed, or your situation isn't as good as you thought it would have been, or you've had better moments, but it does not mean that you cannot get there, or maybe you had to regress in order to press further down into your situation in order to propel yourself to levels that you otherwise would not have gone to if you stayed on the right path, in the right path that you thought, rather than going down the path that you needed to go down in order to get where you are actually supposed to be. So do not let anything stop you anymore. Don't let what somebody tells you, if it's not helpful, to become you, because you have to find the formula for your life in order to become the best possible form that you possibly can be. And I'm saying it. If no one has told you this today, you are amazing, you are gifted, you are talented, and you can do anything that you have your mind set to, because that is what you need to do. Get the right set of situations, get the right set of strategies, get the right set of mentalities, get the right set of times in order to do what you need to do in order to get where you deserve. Because at the end of the day, the more stressed that you are, the less likely that you are to perform as you. Because when you are stressed, your mind starts to shut down and you start to go into survival mode of flight, fight, freeze, and submit. So whatever you're willing to do in the exam, you have to be willing to do outside of the exam, but do not put yourself into a situation where you say, you know what, Phil, I went into the exam, I went rogue, I beat myself up, I didn't do what I thought I was supposed to be doing with and for my situation, and now I don't have the results that I want. So be willing to double down, do what you know is right, and even if you don't go inside of the exam to kick it directly in the chest, it will prevent you from ripping your heart out of your chest and smashing it and believing that you aren't uniquely gifted and talented to accomplish the things that you need to. Again, I don't know what you're going through, but what I know is as long as you keep pressing on and keep going in the right direction, you will end up where you are supposed to be when it is time. Nothing is ever behind. Nothing is ever off beat, because all you need to do is beat who you were yesterday or beat who you wanted to have been in order to become who you're supposed to be. But that involves you coming to yourself, doing an evaluation of yourself and saying what worked, what didn't work, and what are some upgrades that I can make in the future. Not right now that I have to make the upgrades. I don't have to just hit the button and it upgrades. But at the end of the day, making the upgrade in order to get the grade that you deserve when this situation comes, what you were preparing for. And I don't know who needed to hear that, but you can get this done. I don't care how many times you've taken the exam. I don't care what your supervisor says. I don't care what your friends say. I don't care what your colleagues say. I don't care if your agency fired you and said you aren't worth it. They don't know what you are capable of. The only person that knows what you're capable of is you, because you know what you're able to do within the situation when your back is against the wall, because the people that are supposed to be in your life and the people that are repping and rocking with you and the people that are getting blessings and lessons from your situation will show up and support you in the way that you need to be supported at that time. So you need to become who you need to be today in order to be a support to somebody in the future. Because without you guys, there's no me. So I am from the bottom of my heart appreciative of every single person that has ever repped and rocked with me, that has ever commented on my video, that has ever attended an individual tutoring, ever attended a Sunday study group, ever attended a one-day course, that's ever just emailed somebody and was like, hey, I think this person would be good for you. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of you guys. This year, I'm going to become the best possible version of myself, and I hope that you do the same. So similar to the changes and upgrades they made to the exam, take that as a lesson of you needing to make upgrades and take lessons and do whatever you need to do to become the best possible version of yourself. And like I said, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you need anything from me, send me an email at berda24@gmail.com. I hope to see you in individual tutoring. Hope to see you in a Sunday study group. Hope to see you in the one-day course. And I'm going to keep giving everything that I possibly can to you guys because you deserve it. And you need to do what you need to do for yourself to get into those positions. I'll see you guys in the next video. In peace. Out, guys.